What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what's really moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Rezolve is up 6.19%, 452 the low, 477 the high, but we are seeing relatively low volume. So 7.06 million shares being traded, 26.2 is the average. So when it comes down to today, the broader market is very hyped up because of data such as CPI. So CPI did come in better than anticipated. So month over month came in at 0.3 versus a forecast of 0.4, year over year 3 versus a forecast of 3. So good stuff overall. And even aside from that, the Michigan consumer sentiment came in better than anticipated. S&P global data, composite manufacturing services, all came in better than anticipated. So of course, market is taking this as a pretty strong positive and kind of validating a even greater potential cut for the December meeting. So I think it is fair to assume for the October 29th, we are going to be seeing a 25 basis point cut, which would be huge for the broader market. But for the December 10th, now you're seeing a small likelihood of a 50 following 50 basis point cut. So having a 25 and then a 50 would be, again, huge for the broader market. And that would benefit Rezolve through algorithmic trading. So I've brought this up in the past, and I see a lot of people on social media saying that rate cuts are going to really help Rezolve. Keep in mind, this is American rate cuts. Technically, Rezolve, only through Tether do they deal with any American kind of entities. So this is one thing that Rezolve is trying to do, is enter the American market. Currently, they're not, aside from Tether. So again, I think a lot of people just overly pump something without knowing truly what does affect it. So even popping over here, you see a lot of people just saying some of the things like Citadel bought. This is huge, and they bought it at 667. Even right over here, just saying that CPI is amazing. Buy before it's not too late. CPI numbers came out right. Government shutdown need to end, and a deal between China and the States that would cause obviously Rezolve to go higher to the 5. This is where these are the types of people that I feel just pump it, but they don't really know. So technically, the government shutdown is in no way directly going to benefit Rezolve. And as far as right now, I think they're kind of dealing through Tether is very limited. So I think this is one thing that they want to do going forward, and this is part of their bigger plan. But for right now, they don't really deal too much with the States and the American market. So all of these things that people are pumping is not really that great for Rezolve. Again, it is getting moved through algorithmic trading, so you can kind of see that right down here, that algos are very much in force, but you're not really seeing that much buying. So for instance, even popping over to the secondary market, you have so far seen one transaction, and it is a sell for 445,000. So this is why I feel like I give some benefit, and I kind of mellow out people, because there's a lot of people out there, not just with Rezolve, but they're just pumping, right? Everything is FOMO. So all you have to say is, hey, Rezolve's going to $10, and you'll easily get like 10,000 views. But I like to humble people and just kind of bring them down and be more realistic. So even though today is very exciting, a lot of it is just artificial. No different than earlier this week on the Monday when we had that crazy sell-off. That was unjustified because that was algos suppressing the broader market. No different than today. It is just pumping. So big money is not really behind the scenes buying at all today. When it comes to Rezolve, surprisingly enough, we have not seen any news. Last news did come out on October the 22nd, showing that they were kind of doing some moves around with their executives, hiring some positions. So I've already covered that in a previous video. It's okay news, but it kind of brings forth some other questions. But aside from all that though, looking at shorts, at the time of doing this video, shorts are increasing 192,000 shares. 9.76% of the free flow is being shorted, works to be 15.2 million shares overall are being shorted. So shorts are starting to be a little bit more active lately. So it looks like it did have a kind of low of about 7.4%. That was at the beginning of October. So shorts have been somewhat increasing since then, but they are very, very active, still making up for a good about 30 to almost sometimes 50% of the daily volume. So just keep that in mind, right? I do believe that Rezolve is going to do a lot of good things in the foreseeable future. Any stock technically in that sector is going to have good, very good growth, solid double digit for many, many years. But again, I always like to go over what's really affecting it and what is truly catalyst. And this is why I've stated in the past that Rezolve, if they put out news saying that they're going to be getting a new revenue source right now, not in the foreseeable future, not in like 2026, 2027, but right now, then that would be a huge catalyst for Rezolve. Up until that point, it is going to be just largely piggybacking off the broader market, which nothing really wrong with that. But as what we've seen a lot of volatility, and that's because if you're getting moved through algorithmic trading, it is rather hollow. So do your own due diligence at the end of the day. Like I said, there's more than enough pumpers out there that will easily say that this is going to $10 next week or the following week, and they give a bunch of just false catalysts. So let me know your thoughts on that, because like I said, the whole government shutdown, even that will not affect Rezolve at all. So again, just do your own due diligence. Ultimately, moral of the story, looking at the options, 700,000 in calls, 92,000 in puts, 58% of all the options being done today are bearish in nature. So again, you have a lot of the true data very much conflicting with the price action today. So just again, this is why I like to go over this data. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 5 to 550 going into next week. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 4. So you do have a little bit more back and forth, but despite that, you have a little bit more upside. With it right now at 471, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So 454 is going to be a strong support, and it kind of bounced off that general area. And then 477 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And conveniently, that was the high for today. So it is just trading wedge bound between this S1 and this S2. So best case scenario, you do see it close above that 477. And that way it'll be able to have some good kind of positive momentum rolling into next week, potentially getting to that $5 range that a lot of people seem to be under the impression that is coming. But aside from all that though, there hasn't been any new analyst ratings. So last one did come out on October the 13th, as I've brought up many times in the past. It is currently below that 10-day moving average, but with some good momentum, and again, it getting above those key levels, you could see it most likely touched, or if not broken above, early next week. So that's going to be something to watch for, and that does signal more of a momentum change. So ideally that would be good, or best case scenario, if the company puts out news to justify that. Stochastic RSI does show that Rezolve is very, very oversold. So again, all you need is that nice gentle push, a good catalyst, and then you'll really see some very significant kind of price action, similar to what happened in September. The only bad thing is during that time frame, they were putting out back to back PRs, so you were largely getting pushed higher through algorithmic trading. So it was rather artificial, and this is why we've seen a lot of downside. But looking at the market position for today, you do see a lot more willing buyers, and that was a pleasant change from when we were starting to go down. So it looks like some value investors are starting to see some upside with Rezolve, roughly around that kind of low $4 range. But aside from that though, it does look like we're building some good momentum. A couple of strong walls of sellers, roughly between that about 490 and 516, and then around 543 to 560. So if it's able to easily get above that, then you could see a retest of possibly that $6 or $7 range. But moral of the story is you need catalyst. So let me know your thoughts on Rezolve. Are you buying? Are you selling? Do you think that we're going to be seeing higher highs, or do you think that things are going to break down? Like I said, I think that even aside from all the kind of questionable things that Rezolve does do, the sector that they are in is going to continue to grow. And I think just generally that is going to really push Rezolve higher and higher just based on that fact alone. So let me know your viewpoint on Rezolve. One thing that I have mentioned time and time again, if you do truly believe in Rezolve, and when people are kind of mostly bearish, that seems to be the best time to either buy a long call or potentially just common stock. It's just one of those inverse things that typically does happen. So if you do believe, for instance, that Rezolve is at a good value right now, and you feel like it's going to go to, let's say, $7, all you have to do, just look at calls, because technically that $7 range would work out to be about 47.78% upside from the common stock. But if you look at February as an expiry date, you can make a solid 89.4% on a long call. So definitely take the time to research options. They can be very, very beneficial and very profitable. So take a look at that. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.